Greetings, social media friends. Happy Tuesday. Dr. Jeff Riggenbaugh back here with you on yet another Tips Tuesday, where I bring you a tip for dealing with the difficult people in your life. This free social media series comes to you based upon the content of my brand new book and coaching program related to disarming high conflict personalities. And each Tuesday, I come to you and give you a free tip or two or three from the content in hopes that it will help you deal with a difficult person in your life. Today, we are talking about the victim. And by the way, if you haven't got your tip sheet yet for top 10 tips for dealing with victims in your life, grab that link below. Click on the link and grab your cheat sheet, your tip sheet. Hopefully that will be helpful for you. But today we are talking about the victim, and we're talking about 3 red flags, ways for you to notice a victim a little bit earlier than maybe you have in the past. So hopefully they won't wreak havoc in your workplace or in your school setting or in your congregation or in your personal life. By the way, before I start here, and in the coaching program and in the videos, I go out of my way to talk about this extensively. But just real quick here, there is a big difference between being victimized and maintaining a victim mentality. So we're not just talking about somebody that has been victimized, and particularly, if it's pretty recent, then they deserve our compassion. We should do everything we can to reach out and to help them overcome that. This particular victim that we're talking about is, again, this is about a personality style. So we're talking about chronic, perpetually, people that sort of maintain this mentality over time. Okay, so let's be clear about who we're talking about here and who we're not talking about here. So top 3 red flags for understanding that maybe you're dealing with a potential victim in your life. And red flag number 1 is simply that they, what we'd call sympathy eliciting behavior. Sounds like a good clinical term there. Sympathy eliciting behavior. Sometimes I can't hide that I'm a therapist at heart before doing all of these trainings in the workplace and in different settings. But so a good word there to give me away. Sympathy eliciting behavior. So this may be as obvious as they just say it. They just verbalize it. So probably most of us have had a person or two in our lives that were just those sort of perpetual complainers, chronic whiners. So they're just going to come out and say it. Everything is just not quite, the way it should be. And so treated me poorly. And this really stinks. And there's nothing we can do. And I can't believe he's asking us to do that again. And, I can't believe she said that. And so we all have those types of people in our lives. Sometimes they verbalize it. Sometimes they may not verbalize it as overtly. But these are the people that are always showing up with some new limp, or they've hurt another body part, or they're on crutches, or something of that nature. And again, early on, sometimes you even see this the first time somebody walks through the door of your church, or you see it at the, first time they show up for an initial job interview. And so we can try to spot these things really pretty early in our having a relationship, or at least knowing these individuals. So number 1, sympathy eliciting behaviors. Red flag number 2, excuse me, hate to cough in your face there. Red flag number 2 has to do with frequent accusations. Now, again, we've all been victimized, some of us in smaller ways and some people in larger ways. But regardless, and sometimes it wasn't our fault at all. And sometimes we had a hand in it. And some people get upset, and this is not a blaming the victim thing, but oftentimes I really coach people that this is an empowering sort of idea, that if there were choices that we made that contributed to us being victimized that we didn't realize, if we learned, sort of developed an awareness as to what those were, then we could behave differently in a more empowering way to keep that from happening in the future. And so We really want to recognize where that is. But in contrast to most of us that hopefully are more growth oriented, if you're even watching this, you're interested likely to some degree or another in professional development. We want to learn those things. We want to increase our awareness. We want to make different choices that facilitate our growth. People with this victim mentality are constantly accusing other people. And sometimes it may be 100% valid. Sometimes it may be 0% valid. Sometimes it may be anywhere in between. But constant accusations of others, inability to take responsibility for their part, and even if it's true, okay, hearing this over and over and over, again, long-standing patterns over time. They're going to keep coming back to it and keep coming back to it and keep coming back to it. So red flag number 1, sympathy eliciting behaviors. Number 2, a preoccupation with accusing other people. And characteristic number 3 is they reject help. So they ask for help from us, or they maybe don't ask. Maybe it's a little more gamey, but they present in a way that suggests that they need help, trying to get us to feel sorry for them. And when we reach out our hand and try to help, they reject it in some way. And in the coaching program and in the videos, I talk about the victim cycle and what that looks like in much more depth, and how you can identify if you're getting sucked into that cycle, or whether others are, on your leadership team, or employees, or other people on your staff, church staff, or other teachers in your school system, or if you're seeing that dynamic play out. A lot of times people just say, oh, it's just conflict. It's all just conflict. But this is a very specific dynamic that if you know what you're looking for, you can see it and you can deal with it. So I ask for help, or worse yet, I don't ask overtly, but I do something that signifies I need help. I make accusations that it's your and everybody else's fault. And then when you or somebody else tries to offer me help, I reject that help. And as long as I reject that help, well, I stay in that victim role, where I get attention for and more for that help. And so I stay in that position by doing that. So if you haven't gotten your top 10 tips for dealing with victims, when you see somebody that's a part of that cycle, click that link below, grab your top 10 list. If you would like the rest of the red flags, as well as strategies for dealing with victims and other difficult people in life, go ahead and grab that copy of your book. Grab that copy of the book by clicking the link, or we'd love to have you check out the video series or the coaching program as well. I have no doubt that will be valuable information and valuable experiences for you. So be sure to click on the link and pick that up. Otherwise, I hope today's 3 tips were helpful for you. Hope everybody else has a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.